right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Speak Black Man podcast. We are in season 6, episode 12. For those who are connected on StreamYard, YouTube, all of the platforms. I try not to name them all because it's a lot, but thank you for being tuned in. Facebook group, if you are tuned in live on this evening, share this with 5 other people. I'm your host, Jason B. Allen, better known as Professor JBA, and I am so excited to be here with you all on tonight. All right, with that being said, again, make sure you like, share, tag other people into the conversation. Episode 12 is Saints and Sinners. Everyone is talking about it. Everyone is talking about sinners. The Saints probably are praying for us all. But if you haven't checked out the movie Sinners, make sure you go check it out. We're going to get right into Jay's Corner on this evening. 2 things, 2 C's. We're talking about climate change and we're talking about Cowboy Carter. That's right. Climate change and Cowboy Carter. Now, listen, I want to start with climate change. We are still celebrating Earth Month. Earth Day was April 22nd. Last week, it was phenomenal. Have been doing a lot of phenomenal work with people around climate change. But as a lifelong Planeteer, and I do have my Planeteer ring on, that is real, by the way, but listen, we got to do our part to save the world. Michael Jackson said it best, heal the world. I think we kind of need to start with healing ourselves. But climate change is important. Make sure that you are following federal dollars for FEMA that is impacting every state. I like to make sure we get to dollars and cents in Jay's Corner. With climate change, there's dollars going to infrastructure. There are dollars that are going to improve our schools, our roads. Speaking about roads in Atlanta, 285 I-20 corridor, they're talking about improving it, but improvement means that somebody is going to be displaced. I also will say that in this area, especially Adamsville, our mayor is from Adamsville. You think about Killer Mike, you think about Douglas High School. We have a lot of grandparents and seniors in this area. So, of course, always concerned for them. If you're not ready to get your boots on the ground, I have on my Dr. Pepper shirt. I figured that I may wear that to the Cowboy Carter concert. So I went on ahead and did a wardrobe change. But if you don't have your cowboy boots ready, Cowboy Carter, the tour is here. Lots of great music around country music. And I also will say this. I wanted to highlight Cowboy Carter tonight because storytelling is a huge part of Sinners. So again, the tickets for Cowboy Carter, I can't even boost that again. Listen, if you're going to that, Beyonce, we love you. Baby, we're also in a recession. Reduce these tickets, all right? I'm putting that out in the atmosphere. If you say it, it'll happen. But definitely make sure you go and check out Sinners, Saints, Aints. This is episode 12, Saints and Sinners. Listen, this is no stranger to the platform. This is a dope background. It's giving me very serious because of the title, Saints and Sinners tonight. But this is our guest, Tracy. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell the people who you are, where you're from, a little bit about yourself, and we're going to get right into the top 5 for tonight's conversation.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Tracy Torres Leon. Professor JBA and I have known each other for longer than I think he and I both want to admit on this platform. So we're just going to say a long time. We have been childhood besties, professional colleagues, and he's just an awesome person. And I really appreciate the opportunity to be on this platform. So again, my name is Tracy Torres Leon. I am a lifelong learner. I am a former science educator, and now I am into clinical research. And my specialty right now is in alopecia dermatology trials. I worked a lot with oncology trials, specifically with minority populations. So again, I'm excited to be here. I'm an Atlanta native, and I am grateful for the opportunity to share my voice on this platform.
First of all, the glasses are super dope. I won't give them good glasses tonight. I'm giving them Professor JBA glasses, but I do love those glasses. And I'm also really curious about alopecia. We don't talk about that enough. I feel like that needs to be a follow-up conversation. But again, this is an expert around this and research. So I'm pinning that because that is a good follow up for next season to come back around to that. All right, top five. We're talking about legacy. Some keywords for tonight: legacy, tradition, character. I want to mix up some of the top five just a little bit, and I want to start here. What is a gentleman? We're talking about the legacy of Black fathers and grandfathers, uncles, godfathers in our communities. And I want to start off with top five. Number one, in your words, your experience, your opinion, what makes a brother, what makes a man a gentleman? Because every man ain't a gentleman. So
that is very true. When you say the word gentleman, I instantly have a visual, like of a man, obviously, right? But he's wearing a suit. He's dressed nice. He's standing up tall. He's strong. That's what he represents. So those are the first things that I would share. Second, he's a leader. He is wise. He's knowledgeable, and he is kind. He is well spoken. These are all adjectives that pop into my mind when I hear the word gentleman. And when I say lead, he's able to be an example for others to follow. And I can elaborate if you'd like for me to, Jason.
no, I know you can elaborate. I think that's great. You know, every generation has a standard for the men and women, children of that time. And so I wanted to start us off with what is a gentleman? It's a big question because we'll say oftentimes people have common sense and common decency, but maybe sense isn't common and maybe decency isn't either anymore because times do change. So top five. First question was, what is a gentleman? Again, I love all of those answers. And it goes into this. You're a mom, a wife, you're raising a son. I want to focus the second part in the top five on raising a Black boy. You told us in your perspective what a gentleman is. But part two of the top five is what characteristics should Black boys have? And I think that's important to what makes the difference between a man and a gentleman, what makes the difference between a boy and a man. So yeah, let's hear from you. You're raising a Black boy. And just to think about, my awesome godson, I would love to hear from you on the mother's perspective. What characteristics would you want your son to have so as he gets older and builds his own family, is in community with other people, they'll say, man, his parents did an amazing job because this person is phenomenal. So the question is for the second part of the top five, what characteristics would you want your son or other Black boys to have?
So the first thing, again, that pops into my mind is being respectful. And when I say being respectful, not just to others, but primarily respecting, I want my son to respect himself. And if I could impart that on others, I want other Black males or Black boys to learn to love, to respect themselves. And I would also say to command respect from others. And there's also ways to do that, but I think that respect is top priority. Number two, be confident in who you are, not arrogance. Arrogance and confidence are two different things, but I definitely want you to be confident, and I want him to be confident. I feel a lot of times, we hear a lot about what we're not doing and what we can do better and things like that. So I think it's important to have confidence and be prideful in who you are. The third thing, I would say have compassion, empathize with others. Know that everyone did not come from the same background that you do. Everyone did not have the same parents. What's normal to you is not normal to others, but we have to learn how to relate. We have to learn how to get along, and we also have to learn how to respect. And that goes back to the first thing I said. Just because one person isn't used to something, that doesn't mean it's wrong. It doesn't mean anything. We can respectfully disagree and we can respectfully agree. And then I would also say that the way you present yourself matters. It's not to pigeonhole you into looking a certain kind of way. You don't have to have a certain type of hairstyle, wear name brand designer clothes, But I will say, and what I am actively teaching my son, is that the way he presents himself matters.
That's
And
good.
that's in appearance and in voice.
That's good. And listen, that actually is a mic drop. The way that you present yourself matters. That's a
Yeah,
teacher in you too. I mean, that's definitely mom, but
thanks.
you know, as a parent, as a teacher, as a sound human being, right? You want the best for others, and you always want people to show the best version of themselves. I mean, let's be honest. When you go, you're not going to Target because we're still boycotting Target. Go to these black-owned businesses and get your products directly, right? I'm also saying that as a reminder to you.
Yes.
But okay, when you go into a store, you're looking for the best product. You're not looking
Yeah.
for a product that's going to give you half quality or, half of what you pay for or what you desire. You want the best quality. And so I love that phrase that you gave. Okay, now listen, we have three more of the top five, and these are not easy feats. So let's go a little bit into the movie centers. Again, Ryan Coogler did a phenomenal job. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I will say that Sinners, the movie, honed in on a lot of things: storytelling, music, which growing up, we definitely experienced a lot of gospel music, a lot of soul music, R&B, rap music, hip hop, all of the nine, pop music, rock, country music, all of it. You have to be well versed. I want to ask this: number three of the top five. Name music that brings you joy. We saw the power. If you watch the film and when you watch the film, you'll see the power of music and how it resonates within us and how it helps change our state of being. So, drop for us music genres, maybe artists that bring you joy when you listen to them.
Mm. Okay. I would definitely say gospel. Um, it, religion, gospel has a way of touching your soul, especially if you grew up in the church, and especially the old school gospel songs. Like I think of like artists like John P. Key and their songs where they would tell these stories of this. I can't remember. I think it might have been Mississippi Mass Choir where the mother is singing "Come On in the Room." Like that, just even hearing that song right now, like, and it's an elderly mother and she's just singing "Come On in the Room," but it's the story that goes along with that song, and you can visualize the miracle that they are singing about and the power and the belief in God. It's awesome. With that, I can say that any music that connects to an emotion that I have felt, whether it's heartbreak, love, being in love, or not being in a good place in life, or, whatever it is. And, there are many genres that can connect with that. But any type of music that can touch a part of my life that I can relate to personally brings me joy.
I want to say this: gospel music, Mahalia, Kurt, in between, mixture of both. Because you have some people who like, I only listen to the James Cleveland, the choir music of gospel, and then you have others who are like they trying to
Yeah.
revolutionize gospel music. So what? Where are you? Where do you lie? Are you old school? Clap your hands, stomp your feet. Are you a mixture of both? Are you new school gospel?
I
What is it?
am I'm going to be honest with you. I am classic old school slash middle school. I can't really, the new school gospel songs there, I mean, they're great. I still relate to them, but I grew up in
Praise
the
and
middle
worship.
school. Yeah, I grew up with, old school devotion and like I said, like Yolanda Adams and John P. Key and just, those songs. So not to say that, like, and then I guess Marvin Sapp would be
Yeah. I'm on the same
another.
page.
Yeah, we're all on the same page, but
Leandria
even his song,
Johnson.
yeah,
Um,
even
you
his song
know,
never would have made it. I mean, come
yeah.
on now. Like that you
Bishop
hear that
William Murphy,
song.
so many
Yes.
contemporary gospel
Yes.
artists. I want to ask you this. This is a bonus question, but let's go
Okay.
here.
Sure.
Thinking about the movie Sinners, um, census data shows that like 80% of modern families now are not connected to the church. They don't have. We've even heard artists say this. R&B artists have said, there's something missing. Like there's a soulfulness that's missing from the current generation and the generation of artists who are capturing the minds of our young people. And as a matter of fact, this fits perfectly into the conversation. Number 4 of the top 5 is rap music has destroyed decency. A lot of people, if you really think about it, rap music systematically has been used to destroy decency. And most conservatives, most of the saints will agree that yes, rap music has destroyed decency. And it's not the art of rap that has done it, but it's the words. It's the F my baby daddy, right? You ain't nothing but a hoochie mama. I'm just saying, like, the beats and it sounds good, but the repetitiveness of the lyrics and the actual stories that are being told have destroyed decency. So with that kind of like, that prelude, I want you to kind of go into, you're a parent, you're an educator. What is your concern around the music that our young people are listening to right now? There's a song that was on the last season of Euphoria that I can't think of the name, but the lyrics are "All my friends are dead, push me to the edge." Right? It's a very popular song, but those are the lyrics, and so young people are hearing that, and there's been an uptick in suicide with young people. So again, as a mom, as a teacher, rap music has destroyed decency, and what do you feel can be done to kind of revolutionize the story of music?
I have a different perspective. I do agree that rap music, is not helping decency in our culture or in the world. I agree with that. But I think a lot of that goes with what we support, we as people, because if we did not support, listen to certain songs or support certain artists, they simply would not be here. The music that we have is a result of what we ask for and what we support and what we pay for and what we download. So I will say that. I will say that there is a part of self-expression that deserves to be in music, and a lot of that can be seen as indecent. Some artists, WAP, for example, like that could be a really seen as a very indecent song. But it could also be argued that, it's a form of self-expression, which it absolutely is. And do I think that it's appropriate for children? No, but we can't shield our children from it either. We can't. And I think that as a community, as a culture, yes, we do need to reevaluate what we put out and what we support, because we have a lot of artists out here who are putting out good, positive music, but they can't get a record deal or they can't get their songs on the radio. But we have artists out here who are talking about crashing out or, you know, hey, F my baby daddy, naming lip gloss after certain STDs. And we are being pushed this, and it's all we hear, it's all over everything. So, that's something, a call to action that we as a people can have. We can
That's
absolutely say
good.
that we don't want to hear this anymore. We can say that I don't want to hear any songs that put women in a negative light. I don't want to hear any songs that put guys in a negative light. I don't want to hear songs about killing each other. I want to hear power and uplifting. We can say that, but unfortunately that's not what makes money. That's not what sells. Controversy, shock value sells. And until we change that narrative, that's where we're going to be.
I think it has to go beyond the sales, though. Again, this all connects to the movie centers and the impact of storytelling, the impact of music, what we listen to, what we put into our spirits. I feel like people should have a balance, right? Like have good balance, music. I don't want to listen to love songs all day long.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
I'm in love. I love the Lord. I love myself, but I don't want to be in another sad love song all day.
All the time.
I
I get
also
it.
don't want to be boots on the ground and line dancing all day either. I wouldn't get, any work done. But then I
Yeah.
also don't want to be, shoot them up and you did me wrong. I got because then it's if I'm customer service and I answer the phone and it's somebody I don't like, my first thing is I gotta go for broke. I'm like, I gotta get you,
See,
right? Because
right.
that's what I'm ingesting into my spirit. So I love your take on that. And again, I think it's all about balance, people.
Yeah,
It's all
I
about
agree.
how we balance it. Okay. Top 5 of 5, number 5, the legacy of Black fathers. There's been so much conversation, so many conversations, but so much talk around Black men. Black men have taken the brunt of the last couple of elections, and they're not supporting Black women, and they're not in the household. So I want to give people some facts before you answer the last question around what the legacy of Black fathers is right now for this generation. Black dads are engaged in our matter of fact, they are the most engaged fathers in our public school systems and our communities, coaches, tutors, after school program directors, mentors. Um, I also want to say that grandfathers are still very much active and engaged, godfathers, uncles, big brothers. With all of that being noted, because I like to give facts for people to have, as we get ready to close out, what do you see the legacy of Black fathers as it stands today, and what do you see that looking like in the future?
Interesting question. Today, I see a lot of Black fathers. And again, I'm speaking from my experience. I want to preface this by saying there is no way that I can speak towards the experience of being a Black father because I'm not a Black father. I'm not a Black man. I am a Black woman. So my perspective and views come from me observing. I want to just say that. But what I will say is that what I see is that we have a lot of Black fathers, Black men that want to be fathers, but may not know exactly how to go about doing that. Primarily, they want to be a better version or they want to do something different than what their father did or the experience that they had with the father growing up. And to me, that's step one. You want to do better or you want to do something different. Unfortunately, there's no manual to be a parent. No one knows how to be a parent. We're all going on examples of what we've seen and heard. And, some of it is instinct, yes, but no one knows how to be a parent. And there's no perfect way to be a parent. What I will say is that fathers now, I feel like we have a lot of young fathers and young grandfathers. And with time and experience in life comes wisdom. And it's hard to have a lot of wisdom and knowledge when you just started your life. We have a lot of, in our community, and not just in our community, in society, we have a lot of young parents. And it's hard to give your child wisdom when you yourself are still a child and you're still learning and you're still growing. So I think we need to give each other's on both sides, moms and dads, we need to give each other grace and we need to work together and focus more on what we can do and what we're doing versus what we don't have and what's not being done. And I think that the desire of Black men to be fathers is an excellent opportunity to change the dynamic for the generations going forward. And we need more platforms like this where men can come together and talk and voice their opinions and relate. Because there's a lot of guys out here, what I've heard, even from my own father before he passed, he says the same. He used to say the same thing. I just wish I had someone to talk to. I just wish I had someone to relate to. And he had his father, but that's generations ago, and he may not have felt like he could talk to his dad. So that's what I would say about things now. I'm excited because now we have awareness and we have a lot of fathers and Black men who still want to be fathers. And that's the step. That's the first step right there.
I love that. And community is important. Finding people in community. If you know you can't be a parent, you feel like, hey, I'm not called to do this. Maybe I was a portal to bring this soul and this life here in this realm, but maybe I'm not the person to rear them. Uh, do better by children.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talk to your family. Find that cousin. Find the
Mhm.
rich uncle, aunties that are like, I don't have kids, but if you can't do right by this child or these children, then let's find them a safe space. And I think that that's important for
Yeah.
people to have that conversation. Don't just be a trash parent, right? But also, you got to set a standard. Setting the standard, I think, is key. Final thoughts before we close out tonight's um, conversation. Huge misconceptions again that um, black joy, black love is hard to find, that black men don't celebrate or support black women. I really want to help dispel those myths. So, to close us out, give us your three things that you value about black men, or maybe three areas of praise that you want to shout out for black men before we close out this evening.
First and foremost, I want to shout out black men being black men. That and just leave that how it is. You know, you are okay, not more than okay. You are enough. And the fact that you want to get better or acknowledge that you can get better or you have room to go grow is amazing. That's the first thing. Second thing I love about black men is I love the way they love black women. It's nothing like loving someone and being loved by someone who truly gets you, who can really understand your struggle. And that can only come from black on black love. And the third thing is I value personally being able to create a family with a black man or seeing black families grow, thrive, and develop and be successful. I do. And I like to see all families happy, but I especially like to see that for black people because that's not something that we hear about and it needs to be celebrated when it's there.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, we grew up together and we have so many. First of all, let's shout out the deacons.
Yes.
If you don't have some good deacons in your community, y'all out of y'all. I mean, y'all got to get. We need more deacons. We need good deacons
Yes.
um, in community. Also, the trustees. Shout out to Chris. I know Chris is watching. We grew up with Chris. His dad was phenomenal. Chris is also a dad. And when I just think about the impact, again, we talk about legacy. You talk about like people knew when these brothers walked in on the scene, they walked in the community, they walked, in the church. It was a certain respect. I don't know if we maybe uphold and carry those legacies. I'm hoping that, I'm not gonna tell our age, but I'm hoping like in 10 to 20 years from now, people will revere us in the same manner that our fathers and grandfathers and great grandfathers had respect in the community, right? Because
Yeah.
that's just
Yeah.
that's something that I hope we get back to, especially for this next generation. And I will say, we know some phenomenal dads. I mean, you're married
Yeah.
to one. We have very good friends who are dads, and I'm hopeful for the next generation. And the uncles, the cousins, all of us, we all play a role in that. So everyone, this is episode 12, Saints and Sinners. If you have not seen the movie Sinners, Tracy, we may need to go check that out. If you have not seen the movie Sinners,
Yes.
you've got to go see it. I also will say this: a lot of people that I'm connected to, family, in network, loved ones, have seen the movie twice or maybe three times. I actually know some artists that have seen it like four times. It's a really, really good movie. Lots to unpack. Lots of good. It's phenomenal. It's a great movie, and it has everyone talking. So go with your sweetheart, go with your loved ones, go with friends, go with some people who are like, hey, I want to see your thoughts on this. It's a really good think tank. So again, we are at time, everyone. Tracy, it's always great to have you on the space. I would love to do an episode with childhood friends. So Rocky, Chris, I'm just gonna go
Yes.
ahead and throw that out there to talk about old Atlanta, because what's a better way than to talk
Yes.
about old Atlanta than people who grew up in um, old Atlanta, and like so many stories we could tell. So I'm putting that out there. Tracy is going to make that happen. But everyone, again, uh, I am so thankful to have Tracy as our special guest. No stranger to the platform, but she is a phenomenal wife, mom, and I loved her highlight. So again, make sure you stay connected to the podcast. Subscribe at educationalentities.com. Be on the lookout for some snippets of this conversation throughout this week. And guess what? It is about to be May. So we're closing out. This is the last month of the podcast for season 6 that has been going for quite some time. And we are excited about the conversations next month. So make sure you stay tuned. Again, go check out the movie Centers. Also, save the date. September 30th is Friendsgiving Day. I'm looking for 100 people to donate $100 to Lily's Foundation. Everybody can do that. Get connected. Also, if you are tuned into the podcast, you know that Saturday, October the 4th is a major day, and I always have to make sure that I'm saying the correct date because this is the first Saturday of the month of October. It's our annual gala celebrating 10 years of Lily's Foundation. Listen, we are in a recession. That's why our tickets are $50 for our gala event celebrating 10 years of our work. So definitely make sure you go to our website, get your tickets. You can get to Lily's Foundation website from Educational Entities right now. Go and get you your gala tickets. Bring your spouse, bring your partner, bring your loved ones, bring your family. Well, not your young children, but bring your network. I had to make that clear. We're going to have a good time. So anyway, this is episode 12, Saints and Sinners. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. Stay connected. Go get subscribed to the podcast, and we will see you back next week, 7:15 p.m. for more of the Speak Black Man podcast. Peace and love, everyone.